Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is your neighborhood-friendly Oxhorn, and here I am today with another efficiency settlement build. Today, we are doing the Visitor Center, which is a brand new settlement in the latest Fallout 4 DLC, Far Harbor. I completed Dalton Farm just a few days ago, and I did that video. It was a great success, and now I'm going to do the Visitor Center, and it looks like my robot provisioners are already invading the island, so that's good to go. So let's head on up to the Visitor Center, and I'll give you the grand tour. So it's a little dark right now, but morning is breaking here in the settlement, and it should get really bright soon, which I figure is the perfect time to start a video like this. So let's go ahead and pop into the sky real quick, and I'll give you the overview. So here is an overview of my settlement, the Visitor Center. Sorry for the frame rates as I jump into the sky. That's just the nature of getting such a wide shot. So this particular settlement started off as like a nature visitor center where people come to go on picnics and to hike and to do all sorts of outdoorsman-like activities. My settlers are waking up. They're just leaving the house. That's great. And so they're going to go head on out. This building right there is the Visitor Center, and that came with the settlement, but it was completely blown apart. I've patched most of it, but I left a few things. For example, this roof right here I did not patch because there's actually no way to get up into it. It's kind of funny that they had this here. There's no stairway. There's no doorway. I suppose I could have created a stairway down here, but you know, I just didn't need it. And then there's this huge opening on the inside here. It's a huge vaulted area, and to fix this ceiling would have been a Herculean task. But I don't have any settlers sleeping in this area. I've got different bedrooms for them, and the only reason to fix a roof is so that you gain a happiness bonus with your beds being sheltered. So I left that open as well, but I did fix everything else in the building, which I will show you. Now, the DLC is extremely foggy. Every single settlement in this DLC is foggy. That's just the storyline. Settlements are being invaded by the fog or the mist. So what I'm going to do is periodically I am going to change the weather to be clear skies. This is going to improve my frame rates, which is going to be better for recording, and it's also going to give you a clear, more crisp video. So every now and then you'll see me pop open the console, and I'll do that. So let me give you my vital stats really quickly. This is a new settlement. The DLC dropped less than a week ago, and I've been working hard on this settlement, but I only have 11 settlers so far. But I have built this settlement up to maintain 36 settlers, as I typically do with all of my settlements. It's got 36 food, 36 water, 154 defense. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And I only have 33 beds right now. I'm having a hard time finding room for all the beds, even though this is a very large settlement. But when push comes to shove, I will throw down those 3 extra beds if necessary. And this is an absolutely huge settlement. Let's see if the borders of the settlement will show up with me up in the sky. So there you go. There's the green border. Look at how big this settlement is. That's the border of the settlement. I'm not using any mods to modify that. You can see that I'm not even using all of it. Look over there in that corner. I haven't used that. Outside that fenced area I haven't used, and then I haven't built over there. But I did try to make as good of use of it as I could. So this opening area right here used to be a parking lot, and there were dozens of rusted, wrecked, gross cars, and I scrapped them all to make room for these buildings. The only one I left was this motorcycle, just because I liked it. These are the fogged condensers. Those of you who do not have the DLC yet won't know what this is. This is a fog condenser, which helps remove the fog, which is irradiated, which keeps my settlers happy and healthy. And this settlement has a lot of fog condensers. Let's take a look at building number 1. So this is my barn/farm. And in building number 1, I have a lot of crops.
What are you looking at?
Well, nothing apparently, lady. Gosh, don't need to be so rude. So these are my my garden plots. I've got 4 or 5 of them down in here, and I have a second garden, which I'll show you in a little bit. But this equals to 72 carrots.
You talked to Cassie Dalton?
This
Shame what happened to
this area up here is really cool. So with the new with the new barn building materials that you have, you can build these elaborate barn structures complete with lofts and all sorts of vaulted areas. So this is the first one that I experimented with. Going on up here, sorry, it's not quite bright enough. It will get brighter later in the video. Let me turn on my flashlight here. Coming up here, I've got a mid-level mezzanine area, and it's just used for storage. And then up here is kind of like a little hidey-hole, and it looks like you're just using this for storage over there, right? But upon further inspection, jump over there, and you see that it's a bedroom. Now, my reasoning behind this is this farm belongs to a man named Uncle Ken. You get this as a settlement by completing a quest in the DLC where you basically check upon his safety. And there are a couple of different dialogue options that you can do when talking to them. One of them is to make him go to Far Harbor and he abandons his home, and the other is to allow him to stay here. I chose the option to allow him to stay here, so Uncle Ken is alive and well farming in his own settlement, but, you know, I am the leader of the Minutemen, and my settlers are colonizing this farm, and if I were Uncle Ken, oh, look at that, even 6 months later, there's still the standing on the roof bug. Thanks, Bethesda. Anyway, if I were Uncle Ken, I'd be a little, you know, frustrated that these young upstart settlers are coming into my home and taking over my territory. So I made this nice little place just for Uncle Ken. This is the original bed that Uncle Ken is assigned to with his original pillow. I put down a radio, some nice posters, some drinks, and I figure this is his little hidey-hole, his little hideaway where he can kind of get away from everybody and still feel like he has his own place. So there you go, Uncle Ken. That's just for you. Out the back here, I built this little bridge to go over this gap to this little garden area. And here is where I have all of my water pumps installed. There's a large plot of earth here, and I figured it would be a great place for them, so I placed them here. Over in this corner, I built a brand new building, and this is the communal showers. So you open the door and you come on in and take a look at that. Here's the shower facility. These are the chemical showers. I thought they looked better in this settlement than the sanctuary showers. And for those of you who have watched my other settlement builds and my mod videos, you know that these do work. Settlers will walk by and they have a random chance to take a shower. They work just like chairs. Chairs in a settlement give settlers a random chance to walk by and sit in them, and it's the same with these showers. So here's the communal shower. I've got shelves on the wall decorated with all sorts of bath doodads, and then a stack of towels over here in the corner so that the settlers don't have to be dirty in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. Over here, I've got an outhouse. Now, I do have some more bathrooms in the primary residence, but I figure this can be for visitors or for people who, you know, don't want to go in the house because they're out here working or whatever. I've got a nuclear material lamp sitting there, and then I've got some candles down there. Nothing elaborate, but it is a functioning outhouse. Looks like it's getting foggy again. Let's go ahead and change the weather really quickly. There we go. That'll help with the FPS. So, okay, we explored that corner. Let me reorient myself so that we go through this linearly. So here we are back out in the car area. You've seen this building. You've seen the communal showers. Let's check out Bar Harbor. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Here, I'm going to move on up so that you can see that. You see that, ladies and gentlemen? You see how it says Bar Harbor? This sign came with this settlement. You can't build it with the settlement building tool. There are no mods yet that allow you to build this sign. It came with the settlement. It was stacked over here underneath this visitor center canopy next to this cigarette sign. There was a cigarette sign, the Bar Harbor sign, and then a Bar Harbor sandwich board. But I thought it would look great here, so I used my precise movement mod to move that sign over to the wall of this building. And the reason for that is because if you subscribe to my videos, you know that I just recently completed my latest edition of my happiness experiment, where I did a bunch of experiments to figure out how to improve happiness in your settlements, and I finally deconstructed it to the point where I can now predict my settlement happiness. And for this settlement, for a settlement of this size, 36 settlers, I need 17 bars to get to 100 happiness. And this is my bar area. I have 17 bars in here. They're not all manned yet because I only have 11 settlers, but as the settlement grows, I will assign them to their bars. And I think of this as a marketplace / cafeteria where people from all over the Commonwealth are going to be attracted to Bar Harbor, the settlement with all of the bars. And here's the sandwich board I was telling you about. Welcome to Bar Harbor. How serendipitous is that? I needed a settlement large enough to accommodate 17 different bars so I could get 100 happiness. And lo and behold, the settlement I finally choose happens to have these sandwich boards that say Bar Harbor, so I'm pretty tickled about that. So this settlement is nicknamed Bar Harbor, and this area right here is my indoor cafeteria / marketplace / bar area. I've got all of the bars decked out. There's a lot in here, and I didn't want FPS to get too poor, so I didn't go hog wild with decorations. I really took a minimalist approach. I do have some signs on the walls that I felt were appropriate, and some crates filled with drinks where necessary. Here's an eating and drinking station, and here's an eating and drinking station. Not too elaborate, but it's enough room for settlers to walk around. Late at night and early in the morning, settlers will come in here and they'll walk around. That one of the nice things of having all of your bars in one area is that when settlers all crowd around the bar at night, it doesn't look too crowded. They kind of disperse amongst all of the bars and sit down in the random chairs. So this place fills out really nicely late at night when settlers quit work for the day and they go to drink. I've got a milk vending machine, a Nuka-Cola vending machine, which I realize is sort of taboo, if not faux pas, to have in Far Harbor. But I do have the Vim vending machine, so New Englanders should feel okay. So there's my Bar Harbor, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty excited about that. I chose this style of lamppost because there was one lamppost remaining in the settlement. I think it was over here somewhere, and it was this style. So I decided to light my entire settlement using the lamppost style that came with it. So this is the Visitors Center area. It has this really nice sign up there. It says Acadia National Park. And I decided to turn this into my workshop. I put some fluorescent lights up there. Here's where my energy comes from. This is my fusion generator. And I had to do a little trick to get it to work. So take a look there. You see how the conduit is pushed up into the wall? Well, the frustrating thing about the fusion generator is because that conduit is at the very top of it, it makes it really tall. Like, there's the complete height of it. And if you manage, but you can still place it underneath structures that are too low for it. So I was able to place it under here without using any mods at all, and it clipped into there. And when the conduit clips into an object, you can't attach wires to it, which means you can't use it to power your settlement. So what I did to do this is I placed the fusion generator over here where there was no ceiling. I then connected the wire to my pylon right there. Then I used the free move, precise movement, and rotation tool to push it back under here. And then I simply opened up the workshop, selected the wire like this, and then pressed tab to cancel. That reoriented the wire to where the new location was, which was over here, and to where this was. So by connecting a wire to the fusion generator before I used a mod to move it over here, I was able to get this to power electricity through my entire settlement, even though it's clipping with that. So pro tip, if you've got some sort of collision thing going on right there, that's how you can go about fixing it. Anyway, so this is my workshop area. I've got the another Vim machine over here. This one actually came with the settlement. You can see it's still got cola in it. I've got some workstations out here and some decorations. This is a scavenging station. I have these animation mats on the floor here where this fire is. You see how it says warming hands standing? What this is I've got a mod that allows me to place down these animation mats, and they basically act like chairs. Settlers have a random chance to walk by and use it, just like they have a random chance to walk by a chair and sit in it. But instead, when they walk by these animation mats, which are invisible when you exit the workshop, they actually perform the animation associated with that mat. So I've bedecked this settlement with a bunch of animations to make it look like settlers live in here. And then I thought this was another serendipitous thing. Here's a big sign that came with the settlement that says cigarettes. I didn't move it. I just decided to turn this little corner into a smoking station. So I've got a cigarette machine, a table filled with cigarettes and cigar boxes, an ashtray filled with lit cigarettes. And so there is my workshop station. Power pipes in through these lights and then comes up here. So here's the bulk of the settlement. This was here when I started. Everything out there I had to build, with the exception of that visitor center canopy that came with it. But everything else I had to build from scratch. This was here when I started. This junk fence was here, but I did have to repair it. There was a hole in the wall right there, which I repaired. I really wanted to use a mod to move this bulletin board up there, but it's awkward. When you get the settlement, if you want to try it too, you'll see what I mean. It comes in like 3 different layers: the paper layer, the white speckled board, and then the baseboard, and you have to move all 3 of them, and Z space is awkward, so I just left that the way it was. And I tried to have a minimalist touch. I didn't want to ruin the character of this settlement too much by going hog wild. I repaired things, I made it functional, but I didn't go elaborate. So this is the first farm, and there's good old Uncle Ken. Hey there, Uncle Ken, you having a good time? Don't feel bad for Uncle Ken. He farms when you first get the settlement, so he enjoys work. He loves being hard at work. And here he is, enjoying his remaining years, farming away with his own little hidey-hole that he can call his own. Good to see you, Uncle Ken. So I've got my carrots down here in this floor texture that is...
This is my farm. Stop fiddling with everything.
Okay, sorry, Ken. Hey, I'm just trying to make it a nice, livable place for everybody. Show some appreciation. Here's where I decided to plant my carrots. This is, of course, the farm plot. There were only a few stalks of corn over here. I expanded it out this way and filled it up, and then moved everything else to where you see it now. This came with the settlement, this cooking station. I decided to leave it because it's positioned right next to this nice bench, and it actually fills up this open space fairly well. So moving on in here, here's the primary patio. I patched the holes in the floor, as you can see, and you'll notice these big piles of leaves. When you get the settlement, this primary building right here is absolutely filled with trash and garbage. Now, some of it disappears when you scrap some of the broken pieces of furniture in the settlement, but there were some pieces of furniture that I did not want to scrap because I like the way they look. But if I don't scrap them, then the piles of garbage stay there. So what I ended up doing is, what you can do is you can find certain decals like this leaf, and you can open up the console and type mark for delete. And once you press enter, this will be marked for delete. And when you fast travel and then fast travel back, it'll be gone. So I got rid of all of the garbage and detritus inside the actual building itself by using that technique. Now, I did leave everything out here on the porch because I figure it's, it's half outside, and gosh, the weather's just so fast. It's half outside, and I figured leaves would blow up on the porch anyway. All right, I got to turn off the TV. It's just really loud. It's really loud. It's super cool. I love having it, but it's just really loud. I'll get to this section in a minute. So there you go. There's my porch, and that's how you can get rid of some of that. I turned this into a nice little lounge area / smoking station, and upon entering, this was filled with garbage and a whole bunch of furniture. I scrapped everything that was absolutely broken and looked horrible, but I kept these display stands. You see these neat little display stands? These came from the settlement, and I liked them, so I kept them. I moved some of them around a little bit using my precise rotating and movement mod, and then I filled them with kitchen utensils to act as kitchen shelves, because this is what I'm using for my kitchen. I've got this sink over here in the corner where settlers will wash dishes. This is a scavenging station, reskinned to look like a sink. I decided to use these lights for the primary light inside this building. I thought they looked really good with this sort of naturalist nature reserve kind of thing. And I've got a table out here filled with food and all sorts of goodies. There's the larder. So this area right here is my kitchen / larder, and I used these containers that came with the settlement instead of scrapping them. I had a lot of fun putting this together. It also comes with these nice rectangular maroon rugs, which you can scrap, but you can't put them down any other way. I believe these also are found in Covenant, but they appear here, and so I kept them. Now, this layer of filth, this is a layer that's so fine that you can't remove it even with console commands. I believe it's a decal that's actually attached to the floor that came with the settlement. I tried to get rid of it, and I couldn't. But there were piles of garbage on top of it that I did get rid of. Going on into here, this is the gift shop of the original visitor center, and I decided to turn it into my shop. So I've got one clothing stall, one clinic, and one general store. Obviously, the bulk of my shops are my bars, but I did want to have a little gift shop area. These shelving units came with the settlement, and I decided to use the OC Decorator mod to fill them up with lovely doodads. And I decided to keep the crumbling, peeling paintings that came with the settlement because they just have a lot of character. Sometimes they come in sizes that you can't get anywhere else. You see how that picture back there is super small? Here, let me go around back. You can post this. Oh no, that's an issue. I'm going to have to get rid of that light because it prevents settlers from coming back here. You can build that painting, but you can't make it that small. So there are little things like that that I wanted to preserve. I put radiators in every single room, just because, of course, you need to have heat. Even if I don't assign a settler to it, because this is actually a scavenging station, I thought it looked really nice. I left this magazine rack. I've got all my magazines back at my player home, and I didn't want to drag them out here, so I've got nothing to put into it. But I figure, you know, I suppose I could if I wanted to. And there you go. So this is my gift shop, my version of the gift shop. Moving on into here, I turned this area into a bedroom/bathroom. So I constructed this wall. One of the nice things about the new DLC is that it comes with these barn walls that are almost twice the height of the regular walls, which means that they can completely fill tall open structures like this. So I built this interior wall, and these walls can be placed on the interior without the need of mods. So I didn't use any mods to place this. And then these are both bathrooms. Now you can see the walls were blown out here. I repaired the wall with the barn door, which allowed me to put a working door. Going on into the bathroom, I placed down a shower stall with the bathroom decorations mod. I've got toilets complete with toilet paper, all sorts of bathroom grooming doodads, mirror, and this sink is original. I actually don't have a mod that allows me to build a sink, so I wanted to find a way to keep it. I used the precise movement tool to move it from this wall over here. I had the option to scrap it, but of course you need a sink for a bathroom, so I kept it. I put a cup filled with toothpaste and toothbrushes on the corner there, some decorations here, and that's bathroom number one. Oh no, I lost the women's sign. Let's see if I can get that back. There we go. So this women restroom sign was down on the floor. I used the precise movement tool to move it on up. And that was me using it just then. So that's how you use it, in case you didn't know. Over in this corner, I just put in some bookshelves and some plants. And then here's the men's restroom, complete with another shower, a sink that I rescued. I put this mirror on top of the other mirror because you couldn't scrap the old mirror. And yeah, it's decorated very similarly to the other one. So there you go. So here's the primary bedroom, and look at that. Yeah, that's right. I'm back to sleeping bags on the floor, ladies and gentlemen. Despite this being a large settlement, I have a reason for not putting houses and places where settlers sleep too far afield from the interior of this particular settlement. The reason I have so many sleeping bags in here is because this settlement and other settlements in Far Harbor get attacked viciously by enemies, and I didn't want them standing too far away from where the action is. So, but I'll talk about that a little bit more. So I kept this banister, which came with it, and I bedecked it with some candles and some glowing nuclear bottles, put a radiator in here for warmth, kept the images on the wall that were there, and then just placed a few more posters to make it look a little better. Man, I keep having this texture problem with my photos. I put these containers on the wall because there's a distinct lack of space to store your clothing and other items, and then I put some personal items in the containers to make it lived in, to make it look lived in. Okay, moving on up to floor number 2. So here's my lounge area. This was filled with all sorts of broken broken furniture, completely wrecked stuff and piles of trash. I scrapped everything that was completely unredeemable, you just couldn't do anything with, and I saved everything that wasn't. So I saved this little display case and this display case. I'm using this display case for sports memorabilia. You know, I figure that some of these sports are seen as rather archaic and novel by the people of 2077. Or whatever year it happens to be now. So they're collecting some of these odd objects from the past, these odd artifacts, put them on display here, some sports memorabilia. And then, of course, this is New England, and this little lobster float right there was there when I got it, and I decided to go with it. I scrapped everything in it except for the lobster float. I put down... Hey, be quiet, Nick. I'm trying to talk. I put down the life preserver. I put a fishing pole in there. I put a lobster trap on top, and then I put a glowing bottle of nuclear material in there to light it up. I kept that painting in the back there, but, you know, I didn't care too much about it. I covered it up. Over here is the office space area. This desk is a working desk. It is a scavenging station. Settlers will come by. You can see out the windows. One unique thing about this particular settlement, in this building in particular, is look at all of the windows. Every square inch is covered in windows. They're just windows, 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 which is great, but it also means that it's really hard to decorate the walls of a settlement with windows covering every square inch. So there's just not a lot of room to put pictures and photos on the wall. I repaired this hole in the wall here, and then this, of course, gave me a full whole wall to decorate, but instead I decided to put up a tall bookcase, which I thought would look good in an office/lounge area, and that way it didn't cover a window. So, as you know, my TV works. It does play lore-friendly period stuff. I've got plants, a couple of lounge chairs. I put down this purple rug, but these two rugs came with it, and they're in the exact same positions that they were in previously. Moving on into here, this is another bedroom. These two little rooms right here were completely blown out. This one in particular was really nasty. I had to fix that corner and fix the roof there. This wall separating the two bedrooms was blown out. I had to repair that. And they're very small rooms, and there wasn't much room that I could do with it. So I just put down some sleeping bags there, and I put down some sleeping bags there. This one at least has a nice window outside. Coming out here... well, this area is just a hallway, and I put down a radiator and a plant. And coming out here is the porch. I repaired this wall, and I put in a door that works. And this deck was just beams. Here, rafters. I'll show you what it looked like before. So if you look on up, you see these wooden supports. That's all that there was. It was completely open to the sky. I repaired it with just your regular... I repaired it with just your regular workshop wooden floors. And they were too big to go all the way, so I used the regular workshop wooden floors over here. And over here, I used the smaller wooden floor tiles to fill in the spaces. And I imagine this as being the primary communal eating area. I've got two dining room tables out here, one over here, covered in food, lots of wonderful meats and beverages and booze and all sorts of goodies, and then the same over here, quite an assortment of different food. This balcony has a great view of the settlement and the land beyond. Here's a little table filled with drinking stuff and a grill for grilling up ramen meat. So there you go, just a nice little loungy area up here on this repaired balcony. Now, this came with the settlement. You see this little walkway here? I didn't build any of this. This came with the settlement. You just walk along here. This stair came with it. You go up, and then across here to this guard tower station. I left it just the way it was. I did some tweaking with it. It might look slightly different in my version than the way it was, but I tweaked it just a little bit so that the pathing issues were better, so that settlers had no resistance actually coming up here. And I'll assign a guard to this when I get the settler. It has a nice view of the surrounds, and it's a great perch for the guard. So I decided to leave this exactly the way it was because I just liked it that much. All right, let's talk defense. So let me put down a terminal. And let's see, I'll just put it over here. And let's load our settlement management software. There we go. Attack spawn points are marked. So this settlement comes with 3 attack spawn points. Let's make sure that we have the quest tracked on our Pip-Boy, and let's take a look at them one by one. Spawn point number 1 is way back here. Right on the very edge of the settlement. And so in order to defend myself against that, I built this beautiful defense tower.
Mind keeping an eye out for a second.
Complete with a missile launcher, heavy laser turret, and then a couple of ballistic turrets and a spotlight. This is going to defend me very well from this. Now, I have such high defense for the settlement because settlements in the DLC, they do more than just get attacked by raiders. They have unique events where the fog condensers will stop working. They'll go down. And when they do, huge giant creatures and beasts from the surrounding area will attack your settlement all at once, and they don't stop until you repair all of the condensers. This can overwhelm anyone's defenses. It's happened to me more than once already. So, to keep them busy while I repair the fog condensers, I went pretty much overboard. I put a guard station at each of the spawn points. Each station has like 72 worth of defense. So there's spawn point number 1. Spawn point number 2 is right over here. Pretty far afield. There it is. You can see it hovering in the air right there, and you can barely see the settlement from here. So they spawn here. Some of them will go around the road and come to the front, but some of them will cut across this field here, and so you do need to defend yourself here. To defend myself, I placed this perched missile turret system behind the junk wall. It's the same as over there. It's got the exact same units of defense, but I put them over there. I preferred that than to have something on top of this gate because I wanted the gate to remain functional, and I wanted the missiles and the bullets to point in the right direction. I wanted my defense to point in the right direction from where they were coming, and if they were pointing that way, then they'd have a chance to harm my crops and my other resources, and I didn't want that. The final one is, of course, over here, so I'll show you the final spawn point. And there it is. This one is predictable. It's right outside the main gate to the settlement. It has, you can see it with a clear shot from over there. There's the guard tower. And to protect myself from this, I built this really elaborate structure right here. And I put more defense here because I find that I get attacked more often from over here than from some of the other areas. So I've got 2 missile turrets, 1 heavy laser turret, 2 spotlights, and a ballistic machine gun turret. And I used a mod to push the bridges up on top of this A-frame canopy looking thing. And I figured that that would be a great perch for it. It's got a great view of incoming attacks. It's kind of out of the way of the rest of the settlement. It's going to be hard for enemies to attack and hurt these missile turrets, so I figured that it was a great solution. Now I'm going to try something new with this video, and I'm going to trigger an attack so that you can see my settlement defend itself from an actual real-life attack. There we go. Now to get the attack to work, I have to fast travel away and come back, so let's do that real quick. There we go. Made quick work of those guys. This is actually a very odd attack. I haven't been attacked like this. So that's my first time being attacked by super mutants at this settlement. I usually get attacked by beasts from the Far Harbor Fog. But Yeah, it's suitable enough to test the defenses. So there you go. That's how the defenses work. They work pretty doggone well, if I do say so myself. So I'm pretty pleased with how that turned out. And there you go. I will leave it at that. So let me pop out here so that you can get one final overview before I leave. There it is. This is my visitor center. I had a lot of fun putting this together. I love good old Uncle Ken. I hope that he still feels at home here in the settlement. I wanted to keep as many trees as possible because this is out in the woods. It is a visitor center. I wanted to keep the kind of outdoorsy, woodsy, homey feel that the settlement had. So I only scrapped broken, dead trees that had been hit by lightning, and I kept all the others. As you can see, the lights lighted up really well at night, and I positioned that one just at the right spot to continue to light up that sign. The house is fully lit. The bedrooms are fully lit. All of the vital stats function, and there you go. That's my settlement. I had a lot of fun with it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you some ideas for your own version of the visitor center. Please leave me a comment in the comment section below if you have any thoughts, any criticisms. Would love to share your own video. Be sure to subscribe for more Far Harbor and Fallout 4 related content. I'm going to be doing every single settlement in Fallout 4. I've almost got them all done, so you can check out all of my settlement builds. Be sure to subscribe for that and for more content, and show up to my weekly show, Scotch and Smoke Rings, which airs every Thursday night on Twitch TV. Just Google Scotch and Smoke Rings. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you later.